Hello everyone, welcome back to the Python series, and today we're gonna be learning about string slicing in Python. So let's dive right in. So what is slicing? Slicing is essentially the process of extracting a portion of text from a string. This portion of text is known as a substring. So let's start by creating a variable. We'll call it message and we'll set it equal to a string. We'll let it contain the text hello Python. Now let's say we wanted to extract a substring from within our string hello Python. Let's say the word hello. To do this we can use slicing. Now let me quickly show you guys the format of slicing. So the format of slicing is we take a string and then inside of squared brackets open and close we provide three values: the start index, the stop index, and the step value. Now these three values are separated by a colon, and that is the format of string slicing. Now that we know the format of slicing, let's begin by extracting the substring hello from within our string hello Python. So let's print out our substring hello. So we'll type print and then inside of these parentheses we'll provide our message variable which contains our string. And now we can perform string slicing. So inside of these squared brackets, open and close, we'll need to provide the start index of our substring hello. So let's find the start index of our substring hello. So 8 starts at index 0. So that means our start index will be 0. And now we'll put a colon because we'll need to provide our stop index. So let's find our stop index for our substring hello. So 8 starts at 0, E is at index 1, L is at index 2, L is at index 3, O is at index 4. And that would actually be our stop index. But here's the thing about string slicing in Python. The stop index is exclusive. So we'll need to provide one more than our stop index 4. So let's make it 5. And now we'll make our stop index 5 inside of here. And now we'll save our code. So we'll press Ctrl S on our keyboard and then we'll run our Python code. And now you'll see hello gets printed out. So we just extracted our substring using slicing. Now let me show you guys something. Let's say we did print message 0:4. Notice that 4 is the stop index of the word or substring hello. Because it is exclusive, we'll get hello printed onto the screen instead of hello, as you guys can see right here. So because it is exclusive, we always have to provide the stop index as one more. And in this case it is 5. And then we would get hello printed onto the screen. And the start index is inclusive. So that means it includes the starting character, but the stop index is exclusive. So that is how we perform basic string slicing. Now guys, notice for the start index we put a 0 as the start index. We could actually leave this part blank. And Python would actually assume that we wanted to start from the beginning of the message string. So if we run our Python code after saving it, you'll see we'll still get hello printed onto the screen. Now let's store our substring that we extracted inside of a variable, guys. So let's create a variable. Let's just call it greeting and we'll set it equal to message and then we'll say :5. And now we can actually print out our greeting variable. Now why did we store it inside of a variable? To make it easier to reuse later on. So now if we actually run our Python code after saving it, so we press Ctrl S to save, we run it, you'll see we'll still get hello, and we printed out our greeting variable. Now let's perform slicing on another portion of our string, guys. So let's say we wanted to extract the word Python from our string. Let's do that. So let's create a variable. We'll call it language. And now we'll need to provide our string variable. So we'll pass a message right there. And then inside of these squared brackets, we'll need to provide the start index for the word Python. So let's find it. So space is at index 6, P is at index 7. So the start index would be 7 for the letter P. So now, if we do a colon right here, guys, let's actually do a print down here. We'll do print language. And when we save our code by pressing Ctrl S, then we run it, you'll see Python gets extracted. Now, let's say we didn't want to include this exclamation mark. We could actually provide the stop index for the letter N. So let's find the stop index for the letter N. So Y is at index 8, T is at index 9, H is at index 10, and O is at index 11, N is at index 12. So now if we put a 12 right here, we'll need to actually make this be 13, because remember that the stop index is exclusive. So now when we run our Python code after we save it, so we'll run it, you'll see we get Python instead of the exclamation mark at the end. So we can actually make both of these arguments when slicing optional. So if I remove this 13 from here, and then we save our code, then we run it, you'll see we get the exclamation mark right there again. And that's because Python will assume that we want to go until the end of the string from our start index that we provide. And that is just how we extract certain strings from within a string using slicing, guys. Another thing I want to show you guys is negative slicing. So notice how our start index and our stop index are positive numbers mostly. We could also use negative indices or indexes. So let's say we wanted to get this last character within our string. We could actually get rid of this inside of our language variable, and we could put a -1 right here. And if we save our Python code with Ctrl S, then we run it, you'll realize that we'll get an exclamation mark for our language variable. Now, let's say we wanted to get the letter N. We could do -2 right here, and we'll get the second last element. So you'll see we'll get N right there. If we do -3, we'll get O. So if we run our code, we'll get O right there. If we do -4, we'll get H. So if we run it, see we get H right there. And so on and so forth. So the negative slicing is essentially just counting backwards with negative numbers, right? So let's say we wanted to get the word Python as a substring. All we need to do is find the start negative index for the letter P. So let's do that. So exclamation mark is at -1, N is at -2, O is at -3, and then -4, -5, -6, then -7. So if we put a -7 right here, and then let's run our Python code after saving it, you'll see we'll get capital P right there. Now we'll need to provide the stop index. So let's put a colon right here, and we'll leave it blank for now. Now, when we run our Python code, you'll see we'll get Python right there with an exclamation mark. But if we wanted to get rid of the exclamation mark, we could put a -1 right here. Now, remember that the stop index is exclusive, so we can just put -1 there and it will exclude the exclamation mark, and we'll get just Python as our language right there. Now, let's do this for or greeting variable. We're extracting the word or substring hello. So the first thing we'll need to do is find the start index of our substring hello. So let's find the negative index. So we'll say, so p is at -7, so that means space is at -8, comma is at -9, then -10, -11, -12, -13, -14. So that means if we go right in our greeting variable and then we put -14 as our start index right here for our message variable, we should get the letter H. So you see we get the letter H right there. So now if we put a colon right here, we'll need to provide a stop index, right? So let's leave it blank for now. When we run this, we'll get hello Python for our greeting variable. Now we need to just get the substring hello. So let's do that. So we'll need to find the negative index. So we'll say -8, and then this will be -9. And remember that the stop index is exclusive, so we'll just put -9 for the comma. And now when we save our code with Ctrl S, then we run it, you'll see we'll get hello. And that is how negative slicing works, guys. Now you guys may notice that there's this third value for our string slicing format, step. So the step value essentially allows us to skip by a certain number of characters within our string. So let's say we did a colon and then we did a 1 right here. It would allow us to skip by only one character starting from our start index and our stop index. So if we run our code, you'll still see we get hello printed onto the screen. But let's say we did 2. It will skip by 2 characters. So we should get HL and then we should get O. So if we save our code now and then we run it, you'll see we'll get HLO. Now let's say we did this for the word Python. So let's do a colon 2 right here. And you'll see we get PTO instead of Python. And that is how the step value works. It allows us to skip or count by a certain number of characters from our start index to our stop index. Now, another thing about the step value, guys, is that it can be used to reverse a string. So let's say we got rid of these stop indexes and then we just did a step value of 1 for our greeting variable. You'll see we'll get our full string hello Python exclamation mark. Now to reverse the string, we could do a -1, and you'll realize that when we save our code, then we run it, we will get the reversed version of our string hello Python. So that is how the step value works, guys. Now let's say we did -2, it would simply just skip backwards you know, by skipping two characters at a time. So we'll get the exclamation mark, then OTP, comma LE. So it's essentially reversing it by skipping two characters backwards. So that is how we can reverse our string using our step value. And that is just basic string slicing, guys. Another thing I want to show you guys is the slice function in Python. So notice how we're always passing in our slice with these colons, and by providing the start index, the stop index, and the step value. Another way we could do this is use the slice function. So let's create a variable up here. Let's just call it slice1, and then we'll set it equal to slice. And that is our slice function. So inside of these parentheses, we can provide arguments to our slice function. So we can provide the start value, the stop value, and the step value, just like our string slicing format. So let's provide the start value. Let's make the start value be 0, and then we'll make the stop value be, let's make the stop value be 5. And if we go right here and we pass in slice1, we can simply save our code with Ctrl+S and we can run it. And you'll see when we print out our greeting variable, we'll get hello. Now let's create another slice using our slice function. So let's go down here. We'll make this be slice2. We'll set it equal to our slice function. We'll provide the start value. So let's make the start value be 7. And then we'll make the end value be, let's say, 13. And now, whenever right here where we're providing the format for our string slicing, we can put slice2 right here. And now when we save our code and we run it, you'll see we get Python right there. So those are just two ways we can do it. We can either use the slicing format where we put it inside of the squared bracket separated by colons, or we can use the slice function. So the slice function just accepts the start value, the stop value, and it can also accept a step value. Let me show that to you guys. So let's say we provide the step value of 2 for slice1, and then we run our code. You'll realize we get HLO for our greeting. But if we did that for our slice2, which is for the Python word, you'll realize that we get PTO. So those are just two ways we can perform slicing. We can either use the slice function or the string slicing format in Python. So if we get rid of this step value now, and then we save our code, and then we run it, you'll realize we get hello Python again. And those are just two ways we perform our string slicing in Python, using the string slicing format, or we can use the slice function. So I hope you all learned something valuable. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe button. Stay tuned and I'll see you in the next episode.